Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday here at Reseller Revenue Facebook group on our Wake Up and Resell. I just want to get started off by saying thank you to everybody that attended the boot camp. Hopefully, I didn't scare everybody off. I got a lot of great feedback afterwards, and really appreciated that people were brave and stood up and had some back and forth and asked questions, and it was really good. So the next one will be next Monday at 6 o'clock Central Time, and we'll be going over pricing, like how do we set our own pricing rules, how do we decide what to price on eBay, making our own processes for pricing, and then we'll actually go into eBay and we'll look at some good and bad pricing and how we don't fall into those pitfalls. So I really appreciate everybody that came, and hopefully we'll keep up that momentum. So today I wanted to talk about a little bit about people's listings and store reviews. If anybody's in here that was willing to have us go over a listing or store, raise your hand. Otherwise, we can have an open topic type thing too. So I will wait for the listing or store reviews till we have volunteer. If we don't have a volunteer, then we will just this is something that could be really useful to people. People pay for private coaching for me to do the same thing, so you can get it for free. And if we have people willing to participate, then this is something I could do weekly, and basically once a week, you get a freebie on listing or store review from not only me, but the other knowledgeable people inside the group. So if you have any of that, raise your hand. Otherwise, we will talk about something else. Um, I posted a video yesterday about Audrey. Audrey is she's been reselling for just a little while, but she does jewelry mostly. She does some other things also. And catch that video if you can. That's her introduction. And then I'm going to follow up with her weekly and implement the things that we're learning in the boot camp, and then show live her numbers, her starting points, and how she's progressing along the way using that knowledge. And we will show any of the things that she, as she's doing it or figuring it out, we will actually film that and show her going through those processes. If she has a stumbling point, we'll show that. If she has some breakthroughs, we'll show that. So it's going to be a real Wi-Fi experience. There's also another girl that I'm meeting with Thursday, and she is brand new, and we're going to show her progress throughout. And she has some social media presence type of thing. Show her from scratch, getting built from the eBay boot camp and getting some coaching. We're going to show that also. So just kind of some live eye experience. Get to show it. So if you haven't watched it, check it out. I think it's good. And Audrey, I haven't met with the other lady yet, so it's not saying she's not. I just don't know. She has the ambition and the drive. Like, I feel like she will actually follow through with what we're talking about, and she's really motivated and she really wants it to work. And she also has numbers in mind and work backwards from those numbers. So I feel like she's a really good candidate for us all to learn with, do it together. And most of you guys know this already, but I'm in the trenches right along with you guys. I stumble, I fall, I learn new things, I try new things. We're all just kind of in this eBay abyss together. So, does anybody have any hot topics they want to talk about? Or Catherine was just off camera talking about some eBay glitches, and those happen from time to time, and it really stinks when it happens to us, right? Because she had some pricing issues where her prices didn't change back after the markdown. I had that happen to me once. Oh, it was like 5 months ago, and it was ridiculous. I had to go in every single one of my listings and fix the pricing. And then what do? Just hope it doesn't happen again. That's all we can do. So let us know how that goes for you, Catherine. Because yeah, been there, done that. Wasn't fun. Going through 2000
Yeah, and I
pieces.
mentioned, this is a lot of items that I would have to change individually. And I had a couple of sales running, so I don't remember which ones were 30% off, which ones were 40% off, and
Mhm.
so on. And I know you can bulk edit and change the pricing by percent. I could choose a bunch of
Mhm.
items and say increase by 30%, but I don't remember which ones they were.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't either. So I had to go through. Now, do use, in my opinion, using the bulk editor, like acting like you're going to bulk edit the buy it now and going in there and saying, hey, I'm going to bulk edit everything. And then changing the price that way manually is the easiest way to do it, but it was still a lot. It was
Yeah,
still ridiculous. And I probably messed them up because by the time you're on, listing 1,200, are
yeah,
you really comping everything again? No, you're just trying to get not a ridiculous price in there and move on. I mean, that was
right,
reality for
and
me.
yeah, and do you wanna comp all those again? I mean, some of them were older items, so I probably should, that's something I've been working on as one of my goals, but I am like, I don't wanna comp over, close to 2,000 items. I don't have the time.
Yeah, and I
But I
didn't
might
either.
have to. Yeah,
And
so
I think I
frustrating.
still suffer from that a little bit, and I should have taken that opportunity, and the teacher in me should say, "Catherine, this is an opportunity, and you can go through it," but sometimes opportunity thoughts and reality, I thought that too when it happened. I'm like, "Good, I'm gonna go through every single one of these, I'm gonna get it right." Did
Yep,
I?
and this
Not
is the
really.
time of year anyway, when I grab a bin that's, mostly empty or whatever, this is the time of year when I start going through my bins of clothing and jewelry numerically and make sure that the items in that bin are actually listed, and if
Mhm,
they aren't, why, and then check the comps on the items that are left in that bin before I fill the bin up again, so it's kinda my way of doing inventory without
mhm.
doing inventory because 'cause I'm still listing, um, but it just helps to go through them, so I'm kind of doing this anyway, except I wasn't always checking the prices, and now my prices are all screwed up, so
Yeah, I feel you, and, there was a few things that sold this morning, so I've been doing the 5% markdown every other week, which will get me to my 6-month sell-through rate. And there were some things that I listed in May, which is part of the reason that I do keep my dates attached to my listings because I can just kind of see how long it's been sitting there. And, it was somebody could flip this thing. Like if you just showed it to me, Catherine, and you said, "Hey, here it is. What do you think?" And I'm going to say it's going to go really quickly for, I mean, $50. It was a pretty nice brooch. And it went for 10, probably because my prices were screwed up from May, probably, and I never corrected it, and then it got in the markdown, but I don't change it when I find things like that now because I'm stuck with my system. I'm gonna see it through and I'm gonna do it. So somebody got a great deal on this brooch, probably could flip it for whatever. So our knee-jerk reaction is if we find those things to go, "I gotta put that at $50. That's a $50 brooch, right?" It was a $50 brooch in May when I should have priced it correctly to begin with.
Right, and,
Now it's sat there.
the lady that emailed me that was gonna buy 5 items, well, it ended up 4 of them were somebody else's store, and they were
Kinda
like 2 or
messes with the combined
$3.
shipping, right?
Yeah, and, she ended up not making an offer on the one item she wanted from me, and I probably would have declined it anyway, but because my prices were already low, but the other items she was buying were 2 or $3 items. So the golden silver lining of that was maybe I should shop at that store for inventory because I am
Right?
super, super low on jewelry inventory right now.
Right?
I have what's on my desk is all I have, and it's, of course, the bottom of the bin that all my jewelry was in, the stuff that, kinda drifts to the bottom because 'cause you're not picking it out, it's not your favorite thing to most expensive thing to list, so,
And I've got the
yeah.
opposite problem. I've decided I'm not going to source for November and December because I've got that huge buy. I got to go pick up the rest of that stuff on Sunday, and I have no idea where I'm even going to store it, let alone list it. So, and then
You
of
can
course
store
it's
it
a
at my
big,
house.
rainbow because she sorts everything by color. So I'm gonna have to. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of
Oh,
hard, but and I feel like part of me is like, God, I already cherry picked that. Like, there's gonna be nothing fun left. But I mean, I know there is. And a lot of
yeah.
it was I started getting because literally she looked over my shoulder the whole time. And then she'd say things like, "Are you even gonna leave me anything? Or are you just gonna take it all?" So I was kind of probably not picking everything because she was being kind of, emotional about it. But I found a new source, right? So in a different state, and I'd found a Facebook Marketplace ad, and I thought it was just one of those that's too good to be true. And I'm probably gonna get gypped, but I said I'm gonna pay by goods and services, and he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so I did, and it came, and it was all that good, like really good. And he just said, "Look, I'm a full-time reseller. I get jewelry. I don't want to mess with it." So I'm like, "All right." So I said, "Well, if you get any more, I'll just outwardly buy it at this price per piece." And he's like, "Every day," because he's like, "I just have all this jewelry." every day he's been sending me lots of 100
Oh my
pictures.
God. Well, I need to go on Facebook Marketplace in other states then because I am advertising on Facebook and I'm sending messages out. And the one source that I was so excited about, the guy's not ready. You know, he's still grieving his wife and he wants fair market value times his tax bracket, blah, blah, blah. I can't even figure that out. I don't know what he's
Well, and you
saying.
never got pictures, right? So you don't know
Not
what it
yet.
is.
No.
So, and I 100% have fallen into the same trap of I've seen estate sales or whatnot where they had amazing things, expensive stuff. I mean, these people had money, and then I automatically said, I'll take the jewelry. And the jewelry was crap,
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't buy anything without the pictures, you know, and she said a
Yep.
lot of it's in the original boxes, and I think it is probably really good stuff because I've seen other stuff from their house that they've that they're putting up for sale, and it's nice stuff.
But you
But
just never know.
yeah, and
You
I've
don't
gotta just
know.
find some other sources. I've gotta go to some other states and
I have probably 10 deals like that, Catherine, that I've been working on for a year, probably, right? So you can't ever bank on something that didn't really come through.
no, yeah,
It's
I
just
gotta
the
keep
way it is.
searching, and it's just dry out there right now, but I'll just keep going.
But this guy, yeah, so like every day for like a week, he sent me, here's another lot of 100. He ships within an hour, sends me a tracking number within an hour. He's a wonderful business guy. Um,
Wow.
and then yesterday he says, do you take compacts, trinket boxes, combs, vanity items, cigarette cases, all that? He's like, cause I got a bunch of that. So I'm sure I'm going to get a lot today. Those are the sourcing things I was talking about that if they knock on my door, I'm not telling them no. So while I'm
Right,
not actively looking right now, I'm not shooting that, gift horse type thing. He's buying stuff all the time and somehow he must be getting it cheap because he's selling it to me for like $3 to $4 an item. He's paying all the shipping. That's part of our deal. Everything is shipped price. And he must not be like a eBay type reseller. Everything he has like a huge, extensive Facebook Marketplace history, like daily. So he must just sell on there because he's also paying retail on the postage. Those
wow.
are things as resellers we know, right? We notice like, gosh, you paid $16 to ship that to me. You could have bought it, on pirate ship for 9. Um, but he's paying the shipping, so it's not my business and I'm not gonna say anything.
Yep,
But, you just gotta find those things and, like, can I really afford to keep buying these 100-item lots from him?
you can't
You know,
afford
that
not to,
I can't afford not to.
because you could get into my spot right now where, you know, I might list this little small pile on my desk in the next 2 to 3 days, and then what?
I have been in your spot. So
Yeah,
sometimes different niches, we're feast or famine,
yep,
and also, I think I'm becoming more into the feast stuff because I'm working those avenues all the time. I'm making those calls, I'm making those messages. Some people tell me to go fly a kite. I had a lady, you guys see my logo for my store. Some lady was like trying to blow me up on Facebook saying it's all a lie. That's not her real storefront. It's all online, because it's an animated AI created storefront on my logo. It's my logo I use. And she was like, "It's all a lie." I asked if I could go visit that store. It doesn't even really exist, just online. And I'm
and you
like,
are actually a hologram, you're not real.
I was like, and I tried, by the way, guys, I tried to make a hologram of myself so you guys didn't have to see my creepy face on all of our YouTube stuff since I'm supposed to be branding my face. So I tried really hard. It didn't look anything like me. And I thought, I'm just going to get a bunch of bad feedback saying, that girl is beautiful. And, you don't have that flowing hair and beautiful, and I was like, whatever, you guys just gotta look at my face. I don't really know what to do about it. But I tried. I tried really hard to make myself a little.
I think you're
So if anybody
pretty.
has lots of spare time and can make a AI person that looks kind of like me, because these women did not look like me at all. I was like, this is stupid. I mean, I was like, this is not me. Like they had like tons of makeup on and they were just really put together. And I am never put together. I'm always, on the hot mess express. So I'm like, never mind. You guys just gotta look at me. So it just is what it is. I'll use Molly once in a while. I'll be like, Molly says you need to clean out your death pile and stuff. So I don't know. I'm working on that. It's a pain point for me, but I'm working those avenues constantly, and I'm just but right now I'm not looking. I'm just, whatever comes to me, comes to me.
I
One
am
lady that,
so.
and it's hard, right? So, um, somebody asked me the other day in one of the Facebook groups and said, "Hey, is this all this good stuff you're selling coming from that one big buy?" And you know what? It's not. You know where a lot of my good lots come from? eBay. We all have eBay at our fingertips. I could source solely on eBay. It would take me a lot of hours a day, but I could source solely on eBay and make good money. So it's out there. We all have it. So and I learned how to do that when I was in your spot, Catherine, when I couldn't find anything. So when I'm sourcing on eBay, search the way a normal person would search, not how a reseller searches, because the bad listings are always the best deals.
Like, what do you mean? Search the way a normal person?
So if I search vintage brooch lot, right? I'm gonna get a lot of stuff, but it's, professional sellers are selling vintage brooch lots, vintage
Mhm.
rhinestone brooch lots, things like that, right? Some guy that just got his mom's jewelry, he's gonna put like old jewelry.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Yeah.
put mom died. I'm not even joking, they're out there. Grandma's junk, that's how just the person that doesn't sell jewelry is gonna list jewelry.
Yep.
And when you're searching like that, then you'll get a little box at the top that says that they fixed your search, right? Hit original search because you want it to search the bad way.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
telling you, but because it'll try to fix your search for you. It's going to
Mm.
try to refine it. But there's a little line up top underneath that search bar that'll say original query or something. Hit that box because you spell it all
That's
wrong,
good advice.
guys.
I've never noticed that before, so thank you.
Spell it all wrong. How many ways can we spell brooch wrong? How many
Yeah.
ways can you spell necklace wrong? How many ways can you spell jewelry wrong?
Yes, all the time.
Right? Search those ways. Search the wrong ways. Search the
Mhm.
normal guy ways. Like, no offense, guys, but like guys that are listing their mom's or grandma's jewelry, they're gonna list it as garage sale junk sometimes. Whatever. I have found some amazing jewelry junk lots
Yep.
because people don't know what to call it, and they're trying to get rid of it. And
Right.
then when you see that they have some beautiful jewelry mixed in with some lighters and some matchbooks or whatever, then say, "Do you have any more of that jewelry that was in that lot? Can
Oh,
you
yeah,
send me
I
a
always
jewelry
do
box?"
that.
Yeah. So search that wrong way and same way with Macari, Poshmark. Poshmark is funny with jewelry. I don't get as lucky. Sometimes I do, but I don't really get as lucky. Macari, you got to be there the minute it goes up.
Right.
There's people searching Macari all day long for good deals on
Yep.
jewelry. And plus those fees just kill you sometimes. So
These are
it's
terrible.
out there, but I thought about doing a series where for a certain period of time when I get through these big lots that I just source on eBay and show that it can totally be done.
That'd be cool.
That I can make money just searching other people's inventory because
Carrie, I
it
have
can be.
a question for you. Do you
Mhm.
when a few years back when I had the consignment actual store, I did networking. I actually joined a networking group, and I've debated doing I even though I don't have the store anymore, I've debated doing that. And I'm wondering what your thoughts would be for sourcing. And for those that maybe don't know, there's networking groups in almost every area, and a lot of times it's a a person of like one given industry. So they might have like one plumber, one mechanic shop, one hairdresser, one banker, and so I highly doubt they have somebody doing resale for other people or resale and I can buy your stuff or your grandma's stuff. But what do you think about that? Is that a potential
Yeah,
means of
there's lots of good
of
Facebook groups and
sourcing product?
networking groups. If they allow it, if they're ones that allow that, absolutely. Team up with somebody that you can complement, in Facebook groups. So I go into the ones of the old knife selling groups, the old, Zippo lighter groups, because you know what? Those people are finding jewelry. They just don't know what to do with it when they find it. They pile it in a box somewhere. So find something that's parallel to what you sell and try to work with that. Because those people are running across it. Those people are at those sales. Those people are working it. It's kind of the same thing like what Jason's saying, except you then would be standing out more with what Jason's saying, he'd be coming in as the reseller. And I think that's, especially for an everything seller, is probably a good, not a bad way to go. But with me, I try to find groups that allow me to say, hey, I want to buy stuff. You know, I've been kicked out of a few jewelry groups for messaging people that go, oh, you know, my grandma died and I don't know what to do with it all. Now, lots of those are scams, but some of them, you know, like is that lady from California that continuously sends me boxes of jewelry without letting me look at it or asking me for money. I keep telling her that. Quit sending me things for free and saying, honey, send me a check because you're going to get ripped off. By the way, I always send her a check and I always send her more than what she thinks it's worth. So I always do. So she'll say, send me 50 bucks. I send her 100. But these boxes just show up at my house. And I'll be like, I hope you're not doing this with all the stuff you have because there's people not going to send you that check. But I always send her a check. But I found her in a group. She was saying, hey, I got all my mother's stuff. I don't know what to do with it. I messaged her and said, hey, I know what you can do with it. And sometimes that's against the rules and sometimes you'll get thrown out. So I've been thrown out of a few. Oh well. You know, like I'll go into watch buying groups, right? People that are buying watches, guess what they run across every day? They find jewelry. Or go to gold buying groups, right? Because you know what, those people, they just are picking out that gold. Lots of times they are throwing away all the costume jewelry. You know, I go to do you have gold, you know, go to gold buyers in your area, Catherine? In the cities, when you're in the cities, knock on those doors, go to the gold buyers and say, what happens when people come in with piles of costume jewelry? What do you do with it? What do you tell them? Here's the stack of my cards, send them my way. And then tell the people that whoever gets all your business, whoever you're getting business from, that you'll sell all your gold to them. Make it worth their while. You know, I sell all my gold to that people. And then to a lot of drug dealers, I feel like call me from that. A lot of people that are just getting drug money seem to visit gold stores every day. But you know what? Just roll with it. Meg just missed it. Yes, and you know what, Meg? In that same vein, which I've told Meg before, maybe that's what she thought about, was look at your solds every day, right? I preach that all the time. Look at the solds in your category. What happens when you're searching the solds in your category? You find the one that got away, right? We find lots, we find things that you're like, darn it, I wish I would have got that. And then look at those people's stores. Then go say, and then message those buyers on eBay and say, man, I missed your great lot. Do you have any more? I get great deals doing that on eBay. Just finding people that the good one that got away that I find during the solds, messaging them, say, hey, do you got any more just like that? And lots of times they'll be like, oh, lots. And I'll say, dump it in a pile on the table, take some pictures, and I'll buy it if it's good. And lots of times they're just happy to get rid of it. I don't buy from other jewelry sellers. Not really. So, you know, and this is good topic because we all have to source, right? I mean, everybody's got to find product, whether it's free, whether it's wherever you're finding it, we gotta find product. I feel like, just so you guys know, I went back and looked before this morning. Every single call I've ever tried to do store and listing reviews on is one of my lowest attended calls because people are afraid I'm going to call on them. People are afraid I'm going to be like, show me a listing, show me your store. And so like nobody comes because they're afraid I'm going to want to look at their listings or their stores. Just saying. So I
Carrie,
scare people.
you can do mine.
Do you have any, what do you have to show us? You had some good ones last time.
Just do a store review. Hit me up.
I have yours saved too, I think. Suzanne had some really good things we went through last time.
Yeah, I need some help.
All right, I can't remember
Which
what it
that
was.
was my store.
What was it?
All the jewelry there.
Can you tell what I search on eBay? My whole entire thing's full of jewelry. What was the name of your store again? I think it's
Shop Suzy Q. SUZYQ.
I think it ended up being under your name or something, wasn't it?
No, that's it.
Because it should pull it up then if it was. It would pull it up as a store name underneath it.
Oh, well, okay. Put my name.
What's
Suzanne.
your ID name or your?
SUZANNE. Lambert.
I don't think
Well,
that's
that's
right.
weird.
Remember last time we had trouble finding yours?
Can you go to the... Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong name. It's Shop with Suzy Q. Jeez.
Is it Y or I?
Why?
Shop with Susie?
Or shop with Susie Q. Q.
Are you sure? There we go. See, it was like a
That's it.
test. It was like a test, Suzanne. It was
Yeah.
like we were testing you. All right. Well, I'm going to check out what you got listed for jewelry because it's easiest for me to help you with. All right. So look at this beautiful jewelry that Suzanne
Ooh, that
has
Betsy
listed.
Johnson one, that's pretty.
It is pretty. I agree. Um,
I
pick
sell
some.
tons of, I've almost sold all of my Betsy Johnson. I've got a few left, but I've really sold a lot of it.
So Betsy Johnson is absolutely a good seller. For anybody listening that's thinking about going out and picking up a bunch of Betsy Johnson, this was mostly your jewelry, right? The Betsy
It's
Johnson.
all mine.
So Suzanne knows it's authentic. She bought it when Betsy Johnson was probably hot and, you know, really coming out with that stuff. Betsy Johnson right now is getting knocked off like crazy. I actually don't buy it on the open market, but this was Suzanne's stuff, so she knew it was authentic. Just be careful with Betsy Johnson if you haven't been selling it. That's all I have to say about that. So how are you? Hey, Meg, pick something for us to look at. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's look at this. We're gonna look at this butterfly. Look at this beautiful butterfly. That is a gorgeous butterfly brooch.
Ooh.
This is very nice. Good construction on the back. Obviously vintage. You have good measurements. There's your SKU number on the bag, which is what I do too. My last picture is always that. Your pictures are good. You could brighten them up just a little bit, but I think overall really good. So that's
Yeah.
great. You know what I don't love, Suzanne, is your title. So let's work on your title.
Yeah, I need a lot of help with titles. I tell you, everything I have could be changed in titles.
That's okay. We all kind of have to change it once in a while. So for me, there's no writer, and this is another disclaimer. I truly believe that jewelry titles are totally different than like with clothing titles. There's no like absolute way. There's no right or wrong way really, but I think shorter is better in jewelry right now. You know, I sell a lot of jewelry and my titles are short and to the point and they're what people are searching for. For one, this would absolutely in my store, it would not be under fashion jewelry, it would be in vintage jewelry. Vintage jewelry is a hot category and this is vintage. I have no doubt in my mind that this is a vintage brooch.
Okay, well, that might be part of it.
Absolutely,
need
I
to
would have,
catch it.
wouldn't you, Meg? I would put this in vintage.
Yeah, when in doubt, I always just put it in vintage. And even if it's a little bit iffy, I put it in vintage and just don't put the word vintage
too.
to be quite honest, because it has more traffic.
Yep, me too. Totally. So I would start this off with vintage butterfly brooch because
Okay.
if somebody's looking, if I'm shopping for this item, I am going to type in vintage butterfly brooch. That's what I'm going to type in. That's my opinion, but yeah, I would definitely move that to vintage. Oh, Lynn's in here too. Fabulous. So my title for this item would be vintage butterfly brooch. You know what? That would probably be my whole entire title to tell you the truth. But if I was going to add something, it might be rhinestone. It might be
Mogul,
red.
maybe for the red and green or jewel tone.
Yep, I might put jewel tone. Yep, I might. Just because of the color scheme. But that's it. That's
Yeah,
literally
or
all
like if
my
you want to
title.
put more clear jewel tone large or something. I don't know, because I feel like people
I
might
might
search
put
large
statement.
brooch.
Might put statement or large because it is big.
Do you think I should do you use vintage spelled out or VTG?
It doesn't matter. eBay understands it. I spell it out because my titles are so short. I don't need the extra characters.
Okay.
And I don't think I see measurements in the photos, are there?
Yep.
Yeah.
She has them
Oh,
right
there
here.
is?
And
Oh,
also
I'm missing-
in the
okay, never mind.
description, I do it too. I do it both ways.
So
Takes me a lot
nobody,
longer.
and Suzanne knows I do this with love, so she's not taking it. So
Oh no,
nobody's
tell me
searching.
anything.
Nobody's searching women, men's, unisex for this brooch. Nobody.
Well, you know what? I did this. Let me just explain why I did it. I see now what you're saying, but the reason I did it is there's so many men that are wearing these big brooches now
Sure.
that I figured I might hit up the men. But I guess they just search for a brooch. They don't care whether it's men's
Yeah,
or
they wouldn't type in
women.
men's though. So I would take a gender out of like every single jewelry item.
I don't put
basically,
men
that's
or
what I
women's
does.
in any of my titles in jewelry.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you. I don't now, but you're right. I have to go back and fix all those. Thanks.
So my title would be vintage butterfly brooch. Maybe I would put large on there, maybe jewel tone. Realistically, that's about it for me. Does not mean that you're doing it wrong. I would take out, and then I say my title out loud when I'm done making my title for jewelry. I say it out loud. And then I think to myself, is that what I would type in the search bar if I was looking for this piece? Because if it's not, then other people probably aren't either. And yes, people love to say, but on keywords everywhere, this is searched. Okay, but it doesn't say that it's searched in the order you're putting it in the title. So
Right.
that's the problem with people relying on this keywords everywhere is yes, people might search the word cabochon. Are they searching vintage rhinestone brooch, round, blue cabochon? Maybe not. It just depends. So you have to use your own judgment. You will start to get where you're like, wow, I don't make any sense. Or because butterfly brooch pin, women's, and that pin thing, I used to do it too, and a few of mine have that. I don't think it matters anymore because if I'm searching for a pin, I get the brooch category anyway. And crystal, while it's a great word, probably not going to search crystal for this. Maybe insect might be another word I would put in there. Maybe. But I would shorten up your title into something you would search. You do a great job. You've always done a great job with your item specifics. You do a way better job at item specifics than I do.
But I don't want to do that anymore, Carrie. I want to do it like you do because I watched you. And this took, when I first did this, it's been a long time ago. It took me forever to figure out all this crap. I don't want to do all this. I want to just do just the basics. So believe me, I'm not doing anything like this anymore. But
Suzanne hung out with me one day and watched me do my live
changed my
listing
life.
of all
What
my
is
listings.
What is that? Can you go up to that photo? That
Yeah.
caught my eye. The with the turquoise, the measurement apparatus there. What is that?
It's a
It's a
sewing.
ruler.
It's a, well, I call
Sewing
it a
mat.
sewing. Yeah, it's the way you measure things.
Yeah. Maybe later off camera, if I could maybe, is that a massive tabletop thing or is it small?
Very small. It's like
But-
8 inches is the biggest. Well, you can get them in huge sizes. They're cutting mats
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sewing for
maybe I could
quilting.
see that. And is that possible? You can show it maybe later off
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see about that. Would you object? I mean, if Carrie, you have screen, right? So you're looking at her item. Okay,
Yep.
I thought she was screen sharing. I was gonna say,
You can look.
why not? Just click like edit and just get your title right in real time.
Oh no, that's
It's
fine.
because
I need to go back and do a
it's
lot.
because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed right away was your shipping.
What is
Shipping's
it?
high.
Oh, well, see,
$6.87.
I think probably after I weighed that one, that was the reason. And then I have to box it and put it in there. But yeah, you're right. It is. And like I said, this was probably when I first, that's 1138. That might be in the first group of jewelry that I did. So no excuses, but I agree with you.
Yep.
Is it
Jewelry
calculated?
Is it,
Yeah.
did I
Are you
put
doing-
calculate?
Yeah.
No, I try to do flat, but there are still a few that are calculated. I'm telling you.
It's not calculated, I don't think.
I try to do flat rate, but
$6.87 is a lot.
no, you know what? I left that over from when I was doing clothes or something. No, that's
Yep.
crazy.
So just
Yep.
watch that. Watch the shipping.
Yeah.
And then your like I said, your item specifics is really good. I only fill in the really important ones, and you know that about me. I think I used to put in the fashion and costumes theme in all my stuff, but I watched something that made a lot of sense that it kind of limits the search a little bit. And
I
so
want to
if
do
I
all
don't do
that
that
crap.
anymore, but
I don't
don't
want
do
to
that
do all of
anymore.
that. It's horrible.
I don't do anything that I don't think is going to make a big difference, to how people are searching, I guess, because otherwise it doesn't really matter. And the description, I'm like so simple now. So you guys do whatever you want to do on your descriptions because everybody is super different. I put in any flaws in big bold letters. Otherwise, I just have my, hey, I don't clean vintage jewelry and I combine mine orders, blah, 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 blah.
Follow
So
Carrie because that took me forever. I'm not
yeah,
doing that
I don't do
crap
any of that.
anymore.
Um,
Suzanne,
and
the if I
Mhm.
could jump in for just a second,
Absolutely.
your
Absolutely, Russ.
description looks great, except the only thing I would personally change is where you have your size. If Carrie scrolls back down for a second,
Mhm.
where it says brooch L 3.5 W4, we know that's length and width, but I think in clothing and all that stuff, when you're measuring anything, it should just be like 3.5 by 4 inch or something like that.
Oh,
I would
really?
even put that in my description.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because you
suggest to
show
say
it.
see photos because then it eliminates any error of you typing it wrong, and it eliminates them saying that you measured it wrong. Like, just put see
I
photos.
used to get so many returns on bracelets, guys. Bracelets and necklaces, or mostly bracelets, because they would say that I measured it wrong, or because they were starting at a different point than me. Now I lay it on there, I take the picture, they can interpret it however they want. And they can't come back on me and say, but you said it was 7 inches.
Well, now what happens if the picture doesn't show it right? You know
Then
what I
you
mean?
took the picture bad.
Well, sometimes here's what happens to me on that when I'm using that green, or I have to use a tape measure on some because they're so long. Like,
Mhm.
let's go back to something else, one of the newer ones so we can take a look.
Before
Like,
I leave here, you
yeah.
need to change your price. That's
Oh,
not a $70 brooch. So just
I
change the
got you.
price.
Yep,
Yep. And it
I'm
will
with it.
sell right away, I think. I mean, it was good. It's a nice
Yep.
brooch.
What would you
People like
put?
butter. I mean, to me, that's
Go
like
up
a
to
$39.99 brooch for me.
what price,
As
Carrie?
far as,
Yeah,
What'd you
Lynn,
go ahead.
I would do
Sorry,
$39.99. That's me.
yeah, I think that one's a little bit lower price too. But what I was going to say is when you take a picture, this was always my dilemma. You take a picture of the piece of jewelry on by the measuring tape or on one of those mats like that, because I used to use a mat. And if you don't hold the camera at the perfect angle, it does show it almost a quarter of an inch off.
It does.
Right.
And if that makes a big difference on choker necklaces and stuff, and I've had returns on that because they said it was a quarter inch shorter, but you
Yeah,
have
you're
to
right.
like go back and almost snap another picture of it on the edge because
Mhm.
that's where the actual measurement's going to show, not when you're scanning out from far, looking down on it.
Yeah,
It
you're
just
100%
does,
right.
it's not accurate.
It's
Yeah,
not.
I
And
agree.
I do put the title, because sometimes I can't get it all with the necklace thing. I do put like 14-inch, 16-inch, whatever in my title for necklaces. But other than that, I don't. I show a mandrel with the ring on it. You guys know I love selling rings. And bracelets, I show it on a bracelet, sizer, because then eBay will side with you on if you show that picture with the ring on the mandrel, you show that bracelet on the thing, they will side with you on as far as when they say that you didn't measure it right, they will side with you.
I haven't seen a bracelet sizer. Is it like a ring sizer? Oh, see, because
I have one that's solid. I hate those ones that are flimsy plastic. I'm like, why do people use those? Those are terrible. I
I have
think
a
somebody
terrible
3D printed
time
this. I got this on
measuring
Etsy,
those darn I
yep,
mean those bracelets. I try
and
to
it's
do the
got the size
Amazon.
right on it. Mm.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I need
hate
to
those. The
order.
flimsy ones are terrible. But this one's solid and it's nice, and I just flip it right on.
Okay.
So I think you're doing a great job. Let's check out this one. What's one that's recent so that I'm not picking at you for things that are maybe I can sort by, hang on, I'll sort by newest. Newly listed. Oh, look at your beautiful purses. She always has beautiful purses. If you need a good purse, Suzanne's your chick. There's a Kirk's Millie. Let's look at that. Kirk's Folly is a hot seller for those of you that don't know. I
I
like
checked out that price and it was right at where people were selling them because I looked at all of them. Some of them sold for
Kirk's Folly
100
can be really high. Yep.
Yeah. So but now look at
That's all right. People can, sometimes mine doesn't even like touch the sides because I'm not trying to show them what I think it measures. I'm putting it on the mat or on the square. I'm letting them interpret it. I make sure that the numbers are clear all the way around. People just mostly want it for scale as far as for brooches, in my opinion.
And here's my problem up there. Now notice I took out the woman and all that. I get into all these stupid details about wisteria, that it's purple, that it has crystals, that it has a faux pearl, because I don't know what else to say about it. It's a fairy brooch.
Do you need to say any more about it?
That's what I'm asking you.
So mine, depending on if it's a vintage Kirk's Folly or not, I would say I think this would do better in the vintage category.
See, I was just not sure and I didn't want to take a chance. So
There's
I'm
no
gonna
vintage police. There's no vintage police on eBay.
okay.
There's none. Unless you say it was made in this year and it's not, but there's no category police.
Oh, see,
Unless you're doing
because
like,
I
unless you're
count right from 24. And if it's one year off, then I don't,
I do too, but like if I don't know, kind of like Meg said, I throw it in vintage category.
Now look down at the all those things and you'll see the difference this time.
Oh yeah, much better.
But I still, on that one, I put more in, but
So
I
on
have to.
themes, I'm really careful anymore because I kind of like deep dove into this one time, and the more themes you put in that aren't correct, it
Yeah.
limits people's search.
Okay.
And I don't know that that's a real pearl.
Oh, it's not. I put faux pearl in, but
You put it under secondary stone that it was a pearl.
oh, Jesus.
So we got to be careful on
Thank
that.
you.
And you know what probably happened, Suzanne? You probably put faux pearl and it tried to help you out
Yeah, it did.
by populating it. That happens to me. And then
Yep.
it tries to help you. And
And you're screwed. Thanks.
yep. Yep.
Hey, Suzanne, do you
So
remember what did you search for the comps? If you did this like super recently?
I
searched
went to
full
all the
price.
ones that were sold like that, and I found them over that, like at 125 and 130, 150, and then I found them at that price or just a little bit under.
I
What did
typed
you
in
find?
Kirk's Valley Heart Brooch Fairy, and they're at like 29, 34.
Now see,
Same with the actives.
and this was pretty recently.
yep. I agree with the title though. If I could revamp, if I was like wanting to help jewelry sellers everywhere, which I want to help all the jewelry sellers in here, but I mean, if I was just gonna like blow up eBay, I would say the titles are the biggest issue because like what Harry just said, anything in the title that isn't something that somebody's going to search in that order is going to limit your search. So vintage for me, my title would be Vintage Kirk's Folly brooch, and I might put heart afterwards because I want to catch all the people that are just searching for a Kirk's Folly brooch. But maybe they don't know they want the heart one, right? So somebody might type in vintage Kirk's Folly brooch. I want those people to see my item. So I don't want to limit it to just heart brooches because this one could appeal to anybody. It's not a specialized item. I would type in vintage Kirk's Folly brooch and then maybe put heart or fairy afterwards.
Okay.
And probably not wisteria, maybe flower.
I would include heart because that's a highly searched, but not like where you said it. I would do Kirk's Folly brooch heart because that is
that's what I
highly
said.
searched.
Yep. That's what I said. I would
Okay.
put heart
Oh, I thought you
afterwards.
said to eliminate heart.
No, I said I would not put heart in the front. I would put Kirk's Folly brooch.
And then heart afterwards.
Yep, because
Okay,
I agree.
good.
People search for heart brooches. They absolutely do. So I would put heart after the word brooch, not in between. I would take out
Well,
everything else. Does I have a
When I
fairy on it?
first looked at it, I didn't know it was a fairy. I thought it was an animal.
Yeah,
I thought
I wouldn't
like
know either.
I'll tell
I
you
put
how I
that
figured it out
afterwards.
as I saw the wings on the back, and that's why I took a picture so you could see the wings on the back, because I did not know that was a fairy. I mean, not knowing Kirk's Folly that well. I bought
think
this
there's
some
just
years
a
ago.
lot of
I bought it
people-
because it was a fairy, but I couldn't remember.
You are not alone in the fact that people are still stuck on the I gotta fill up this title. The more things you shove in that title that people aren't searching in that order, it limits who's seeing your item. So I
Okay,
would shorten that
good.
up.
Thanks
Other
for
than that,
reminding
great.
me.
I
Has
also think the
anybody
prices.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if anybody ever tested putting vintage at the front versus the back makes a difference.
I have, and I believe that vintage at the front helps because when people are looking for vintage jewelry, they are typing vintage in first.
I was just curious on the jewelry because in the clothing, I found that it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I think in jewelry it does. I think the titles in jewelry are totally wonky and don't always make sense. I do think the price is off. So, and the shipping's still pretty darn high.
What I have is the shipping.
$5.87.
So what should it be?
Well, I can't
But
tell
when
you
I
what
go,
yours should
listen,
be.
when I go to ship these things, I'm not kidding you, I'm paying. I put them in a box and then put them in a little bag, and I end up having to pay. I'm never making money off shipping. That's what's so crazy.
So I've never paid over $4 or $4.12, I think is my highest to ever ship any jewelry.
Do you put it in a box and padding in it and then
I
pad
put a
around it?
little, in a little jewelry box, yes.
And you put padding inside and outside like bubble wrap and
I don't bubble wrap the outside of the jewelry box, no. It's
'cause
fine.
All day I've been doing shipping as we were talking, and none of mine have been under $4 anymore. They used to be. And I'm all these are under 4 ounces. It's like they raised the prices on shipping and everything
They did.
is 434. I could go down my list and tell you
Yeah,
434,
412, 430.
446, 454. 426 is about the cheapest that I can ship.
And that's been a really hot
Yeah.
topic in a lot of the Facebook groups because people are should we raise our rates or our flat rate price or should we keep it the same? So I don't think yours is really high, Suzanne. I'm just saying, like, because mine's at
no,
550. I do
I
550
understand
flat
what you're
rate.
saying.
I do 550 flat rate for all my items. So I do 550. So we're not very far off at all. I wouldn't use calculated, but it doesn't look like it's calculated.
It's not. If
Yeah.
calculated, I would say it.
Yeah. But $5.87 is an odd flat rate.
I only put 87 there because that way I can keep up with it. Then I know it's mine if it comes up and I try to find it. I'll do 487 or whatever. And then if I lose, something on whatever it is, I just lose it or I get, I'd be happy to have that one make some money, but I'll switch it. And what do you
Well,
think the
don't have to
price should
switch
be?
it. I'm
Yeah,
being
what
picky
do
because
you
that's what
think
I'm
the
supposed to
price
do.
should be?
Well, I don't live where you live either, so I don't have the same shipping you do. So I live right in the
Well,
middle of the
that's probably
country.
it.
I live right in the middle. I think 490 go through. So anybody that's wondering about their fixed rate shipping, my advice to you would be go into your category that you sell in and location that you sell out of and just kind of look, right? What are people charging for their flat rate shipping? Don't go, well, this guy charges this, so he must be right, and I'm changing all my items that way. No, I want you to look through. So in jewelry, to be competitive, I have to stay under, I moved mine to 550 when the rates happened, and I'm one of the higher shipping now. And that's okay. I'm willing to be a little bit higher on the shipping. That's fine. But 499 to 550, I think is pretty common for flat rate shipping with jewelry. Yeah, so I think it's I think it's just one of those you got to kind of do it for yourself. And you're not super high. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah,
I think
the
yeah,
shipping rates has changed pretty drastically in the last few weeks or month or so.
yep.
I shipped out a pair of jeans yesterday that were like 1 pound, 4 ounces or something. It wasn't very much. From Ohio to Washington State, and it was $10.93 ground advantage.
Yep.
And
I
they
believe
probably
that.
got tagged for that rural destination crap.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pay more because it's just strange to ever have anything that high. That's like priority pricing.
So I have heard people lately. So I am in the minority of the fact that I don't ever have to use, the bigger shipping. But there are people saying that priority is getting to be more competitive now, and people are even shipping a lot of things UPS because it's cheaper right now. So Meg says she does $4.99 under 4 ounce and $5.98 for under 8 ounce, and she lives in Chicago. So yeah, but the rates have changed since you lived in Hawaii too. So and Lynn's right. It's definitely gone up. There's no doubt about it. And Lynn and I both live in the middle of the country, and so does Meg, but it definitely has gone up. So keep an eye on your shipping because we don't necessarily need to be making a lot of money on our shipping, but we don't want to be losing it either. just kind of look around in your category. Yeah, I think so too, Larry. UPS is getting more and more competitive. You know, I'm not going to send my jewelry UPS, but I think we have to look at it. Shipping's been wonky lately, so just research it. And that was just, you know, me being nitpicky, Suzanne. That's not really a big
Oh,
deal. I
no,
think you're probably,
that's
I
fine.
think you're probably fine. I think you're probably fine.
You know what it
Um,
is? Because most of it's going to, I'm in the lower part of Florida, and this is going to California or to Washington, not DC, but Washington State. And that's where for some reason, I have people going all over, but I understand what
What's
you're
your
saying.
ounces for most of your jewelry for one
What's
piece?
that?
What's your ounces for most of your jewelry?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, Harry, because I haven't listed any for a day or so or a week.
So
can't remember.
I'm really naughty, and I don't know that nobody should take this advice, but I don't weigh any of my jewelry, and I put 3 ounces on all of it, and I almost never ever have had a price adjustment. I've had a few for like really heavy necklaces, and so I'll put those at like 4 or 5 ounces sometimes, or something I can tell is just really heavy. Like for one brooch, one ring, one whatever, I put everything at 3 ounces. In fact, I get more price adjustments for well, it's when I combine shipping, and so I put 3 things in one package, and it calculates it then at like 9 ounces, and I get credits quite often for that, but I put everything at 3 and I don't have any issues. And they do check mine because sometimes I'll get like 4 of the price adjustments and combine shipping all at once. So they do check them. I did see something interesting I want to talk about quick before we leave. On if somebody posted on Facebook, they're a huge whatnot seller, and they got a big package in the mail. Somebody had shipped it with using priority mail envelopes as padding inside, you know, which we all know we're not supposed to do, but people do it all the time. I got a package just the other day doing it, and they found it. And the guy had to pay money to go pick up his item. It was kind of ridiculous, but you know, it said right on the slip that then the buyer got was inappropriate use of priority mail packaging inside. So it wasn't on the outside, it was used as stuffing on the inside. And I don't know, they must have opened the package and they caught it. So we don't want to be that person doing that. We don't want our buyer to get a big slip in their mail stuck on the package saying, you know, don't be doing that type of thing. So don't do that. UPS is showing cheaper for me a lot of the time for 2 to 3 pound packages, but I rely on USPS pickup every day. Yeah, see me too. I'm spoiled like that. I noticed cubic on eBay is wonky. 12 by 12 by 0 is more expensive than 12 by 12 by 1. Yes, you are correct on that. That is true. And it's like $2 difference. Absolutely. You are correct. I don't know why. Can't tell you why, but you're correct.
So you would say
he has
don't
a-
add that third number then, Carrie? You agree?
No, like his, he'll say he'll put a 1. Isn't that what you said too, Russell? I think Russell's the one that was talking about
Yep.
that the other day.
Yes.
Put 1.
Because I got a cost adjustment the other day, so sometimes they check.
You
That's
gotta put
why.
1. Not
Yeah,
a 0.
I've been using one since you said that, Russell, and it's really helped.
And it's not fraudulent. It's actually a little more than what some of the things are, but for whatever reason, you're right, that 0 throws things.
Because the system doesn't accept a 0. It'll accept a 0, but it automatically makes it a 12. Because there's no
Yep.
such thing as a 0 thickness.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you being willing to do that, Suzanne, because you know I just want to help you as all. But I do agree with you guys. You guys are doing a good job, and shipping is something we gotta roll with, and it's pain. But yeah, I rely on USPS shipping every day too. My guy, I could hear him swearing outside yesterday because I'd been gone on vacation and there was like 135 packages, I think, and he was just like, crap, she's back. He doesn't love stopping at my house every day. And I have a muddy, long driveway, and just they don't love, and big wet dogs, and they just aren't real happy at my house, but it's the way it is. When I get my eBay shed done, I'm going to make a watertight bin outside of the eBay shed so they can just pick it up at the eBay shed. Hopefully that'll make them happier because I feel bad for them having to walk all the way to my door, and they don't love it. Sometimes they get swarmed by cats or dogs. Although we did have one mailman that when we had litters of kittens living in the garage, he'd be out there and I could see him going, oh, so cute. He'd be talking to the kitties and he'd be kissing them and loving on them. And I'm like, good thing I don't put that on YouTube because it's adorable, but he'd always be kissing all my kitties. All right, guys, I appreciate you very much. And what did I say was tomorrow? I think tomorrow was the what happens when call, I think is what I said, right? Yes. So we're going to be talking about what happens when, and you can come up with topics, or I'll come with topics if nobody is interacting tomorrow. So what happens when, and we'll fill in the blank. This is inspired by Harry's document that is in the Facebook group. That is, I can't remember what he titled it. What, I don't know. I'm like Suzanne. If I haven't looked at it in the last 5 minutes, I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember what I titled it, but I want to go back through and rework it. I've got a lot of ideas. I just
what would
gotta,
you do type of thing. So I'm giving credit where it's due. Harry gave me this idea with his document to do this call. So we're gonna see how it works. And then Thursday, we're gonna talk about setting our metrics. Join us on the Facebook revenue Facebook group. Sorry, reseller revenue Facebook group. Sorry. And if you want to join our calls, everything's free until January, and then we will have a monthly membership.